You can find a new place when you need to.
Cool. Go.
All right, hey everyone. I'll be doing a short presentation on how to build Slack apps. So the reason why I'm doing this presentation is earlier in our office, we actually manually would create chores for people, and that's not the best job to do. So I made a Slack app to handle that for you. So and I learned a lot through the process. So I thought I'd share what I learned and what you can do with Slack actually, which may not be known for. So why? I won't read through everything, but here are some cool points that Slack had to why to make them. You can automate so many things. It can help with reminders, etc. And it is a really great interface. And not everyone in the office has used Slack, so they were pretty familiar with the power that it has, and just the fact that you can actually have Slack be smart too. And that would really definitely help. So anyway, this is about the app that I made. It's called Chore Tinder, right? And what it will do for you is it will automate the chores. So like, oh, Monday, X will be assigned or Y will be assigned, and it takes into account when you're available and when you're not in the office and what times and that kind of stuff. So it really helps the workflow, and also takes kind of the user error out. And also as a person, what we used to do is we'd have one person be like, oh, okay, this person did a chore 2 weeks ago. Should they do a chore this week? Like you're going to be that person assigning chores. And anyway, it wasn't a process that we could have automated, so I decided to do so. So for starting stuff, you have to go online. It's actually really simple. You just add in your app name right there with the team, and you put in the image, and you've already started on your process. And there's a lot of cool features you can do. And here's a list that are available. So for the one that I have, we have incoming webhook, components, and permissions. So I'll talk briefly about them. Incoming webhook, what that means is, let's just say like I send you like, hey, are you available on Tuesdays to do lunch cleanup? Okay. Well, if I hit yes or I hit no, that's hit somewhere. That's hit some type of server, right? So this is the URL it'll hit. And it'll go into, which is actually really cool. And you have, and the external sources. Sorry, I meant the opposite. What I meant was it will go ahead and from the server, those are the servers that the URL you'll use to send to Slack. Anyways, it's a webhook. Interactive web component allows you to add messages, buttons, like yes, no, and also when they hit no, the physical message itself will change. It won't create a new message. You can change the original image of the message, which is really cool. Permissions. Oh, can I read everyone's the reminders? Can I go ahead and add in the channel details, stuff like that? And there's some examples of the permission scope that your application is allowed to use. And depending on the app, you'll have to change it, right? Read, write, access, stuff like that. And also there's actually a Slack marketplace, which is where you can go ahead and add in your Slack application online. So you can publish it. Think of it like an app store, right? You have Chore Tinder everywhere if you really wanted to. You can have any app anywhere. And it's kind of like a public domain, which I actually didn't know about until I started all this. And so after this, let me go ahead and show you some of the code that I built out and some of the API stuff. So starting off, here is actually the API web interface that you can see. And so these are the features I was speaking about earlier from the presentation, right? And I'll go and click on one so you have a better understanding. Like, oh, here's a webhook. You can do a curl command and just say hello world, and it'll actually just hit that Slack channel. And so here's the URL, right? So you see this right here, this hook. So that one corresponds to maybe like the SF channel. Or if I change that, it will correspond to the SF chore channel. Like, that's it. You just change the URL, and it's tagged to a specific channel in Slack. That's all it is. And this is a quick curl command to show that. And similarly, if you just make a JSON and post that to Slack, right, with just that URL, same idea. It's really that simple. Going back out, now that was only just webhooks. There's a button that you can add, permissions, which I showed within the presentation. I'll go ahead and go into the spreadsheet. So the way Chore Tinder works is actually I use Google Scripts. And to access Google Scripts, you can go to Google Calendar, Google Spreadsheet, any of those kind of guys, and go Tools, Script Editor. And once you go to Script Editor, that will actually bring up this, where you can actually write actual like JavaScript code. I think it can be in many languages. The one I chose was JavaScript. And this is like, oh, when someone hits yes, all the interactions on the server level has to handle it. So what I did for this to make it simple, I used the spreadsheet as my database that my script editor, that my script would read from and write to. So I have all the Slack channel names, right? Oh, they can put 8 chores, 0 chores, 3 chores, right? Chore count. And these are the days that you're busy. So Chore Tinder would know when to assign you what chores. And within the actual code, so I'll just dive into it.
Where do you specify the spreadsheet UI?
Well, it's tied to it. So when I went to Tools Script Editor, right, it will bring up the script. There are tagged, and they're associated already. And remember, because I am in Google's world, I'm in Google's sandbox. What does that mean? That means that all I need to do to even access it, I can just do spreadsheet app.get sheet. You're good to go. There's no importing, there's no cross-platform, none of that. You just get it, because you are it. You see? You're in that world. Now, if you want to actually deploy this, all you need to do is publish, deploy the web app, and then hit update. Kapow! It got deployed. There's no CI involved, there's no keys, none of that. But I mean, it's super simple application. So I won't go through everything, because it's a little bit more than I expected, but simple stuff in settings, like, oh, those are URLs, who I want to hit. There's actually a Slack reminder API. So like, let's say, for example, someone says, yes, I am available for this chore. I'll get notified. And then what this server will do is it will hit the Slack reminder API. And that will create a reminder. And that's why people will get privately messaged, like, hey, you have a reminder. Unfortunately, when I actually did this, I asked Slack, the actual company, like, hey, how do you guys set a reminder through the API to a public channel? So everyone's aware of, hey, it's your turn to do it, right? And Slack doesn't let you do that. They say that it's a developer request, and they've had previous developer requests to send reminders, to create reminders within public channels, but it's on their to-do list. So we'll just see how long that is. So for now, everyone gets PM'd. Or DM'd, I guess, until that occurs. Anyway, let me dig into a little bit more with the code. So within Google Scripts, which is just JavaScript, one that I chose, you can just run like any function that you want individually. These are just function names. And so here's actually, you make sure you have a, so what I first do is I go ahead and actually have a timer, which is pretty cool. What that means is that every Monday at like 11:15, trigger this, and it'll go ahead and go into Slack, and it'll start asking people. So I can go ahead and flip over there. So here it is, create timer, and that's really, because remember I'm in their sandbox. So script app, trigger this function. It's time based, 12:10 every week. That's all it is. So that's for creating timers. You can do more things. There's an algorithm for assigning the chores, but I won't go into it too much. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all know how to assign chores to people. So there's some formatting with the time, because you are reading from a spreadsheet and writing to it. You have to make sure you have data consistency as well. So the way I built this out, I also have like an API. By the way, GS, I know it's like a super strange extension. It's Google Script. That's why. I was confused by it too originally. So as you can see, right, it's actually really simple. It's like, here's a JSON to create an actual chore to assign people. You get the title, you get some variables. Here's like a spreadsheet URL, right? So that's why you can click on it and it'll go straight to it. And like, I want to know in the styles, which will actually get the formatting. That's it. Because Slack has everything built in. You just need to feed it. The API drives the UI. That's how it is for Slack. The API drives the UI. Which, I mean, I know like in a lot of iOS applications, it's not like that in terms of driving it, or you can configure it. Imagine everything like a widget, right? Like, this is a little widget. I can just, on this screen, I want 3 buttons. I want them to have this style. I want this text. Like, that's how it is. It's compartmentalized. It's not like the way we typically build apps in IO and Prolific, where you just say, it's very like abstracted out. It's very separate. This is very different. It's very one. Anyway, I thought that was kind of neat. Going forward, We have some more requests. You want to post an error, which is not too hard. It's just a payload. Post the reminders. So really, what I just wanted to let you guys know is that making a Slack application, it's really not that tough. You have some endpoints, right? You can get some styling in, and it's actually pretty short. And I was pretty surprised with what you can achieve with Google Script. That's really it for the presentation.
When's Chore Tinder V2?
A V2?
Yeah.
Well, for V1 had some hiccups actually. Like originally, what it would do is we hit yes, it would say thank you for your chore, which will be scheduled for Friday. It shouldn't be scheduled for Friday. And if you look at the list, everyone says scheduled for Friday. Yeah. So what I did was actually I created a new channel called SF Chores just for testing. That helped a lot, for sure. So I wouldn't make those kind of mistakes again. But for V2, I mean, I think it's pretty good the way it is right now. I'm taking feature requests, and similar to Slack, I'll put it on the to-do list.
Yeah.
And never do.
Yeah, never do.
I will be on video soon, so how am I going to be excluded from that list?
Oh, that's actually very simple, Sheehan, but thank you for asking. So the interface is actually very complicated. What you'll need to do is find your name and just remove it. Yeah, just remove the row, you'll be fine.
Okay.
That's all you need to do. Because this is where it selects from. Like, oh, let me choose Connor, let me choose Phil, let me choose that's it. It doesn't even know your name, it doesn't know your Slack tags. And by the way, just letting you know.
Is there a reason that you have like 3 names in one?
So I think that's just the zoom on this.
I just assume probably. And also, because I built it, I decided to give myself 10 chores completed, you know. And the way the algorithm works is the less chores you do, the more likely you will be to be selected.
So
How
how
did
do
you-
you compute the likelihood of that?
Yeah, how did you do
Well,
that?
that's actually, that's IP. So I can't inform that information.
It's called
It's proprietary.
Sort by.
It's not like I just sort them and just pick the first one that's available.
That is what you do.
That's what it is. I just sorted.
I'm pretty sure I told you how to do that.
Yeah, it's actually pretty simple. That's really it for me though.
It would be really cool if you did like machine learning.
Yeah, I think it's really great the possibilities you can do with the application, and we'll definitely put that on the to-do list.
So wait. So
Do
you sort only by chores completed.
Yeah.
Does it automatically also sort by name so that people with like?
No, it doesn't care about your name. It does a chore count, and then it'll just choose one guy. But and if they're available, cool. If they're not, go to the next dude. That's how that. It's pretty simple.
So there is. Alright. So if it sorts that by chores completed.
Sure.
Oh no, I suppose that's pretty.
Why
random.
is there people have 0 and people have 2?
So actually, that's a great question. So last week,
Those are people that pay.
this individual is paid. So let's take this person, right? They were busy all of last week because they were PTO.
Yeah.
So it's impossible for them to have a chore, and this was the first week that we actually deployed it. So I think that would answer your question. What that shows is the power of the application and how its versatility. Built by me.
I've got a feature request. You should have like, do you want to accept this chore? Yes, no. Pay to get out of doing your chore, and then you can use that income to like invest it back into. That's what we use.
Sounds weird to pay somebody to do that.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty fun. Also, so I did have to do some hacks, which I hated. So like in Slack, right, you're like, oh, hey Phil, you're gonna get a chore for Monday lunch, fine, right? I couldn't like, I needed to put in like the day, the time of the chore. Like I need to put that JSON in. What that means is like, if he hits yes, like I want to do a chore on Wednesday for lunch cleanup, I need to know that it was lunch cleanup on Wednesday. Like I need to know that information from the JSON, right? So you can't actually add a new key into this very strict JSON. So I had to hack it, like, oh, you know, add the weekday in and like, oh, you know, put the time in the chore. Like I had to hack it, right? Which I didn't like. And I tried looking online and I couldn't find a better way. So if anyone does that suggestion,
really like?
I couldn't add a key in. I couldn't add like a separate key just to put like, oh, this is the time the chore weekday. So I had to do a small hack for that, which I didn't like. Still though, that was it. And I think that really wraps up the presentation. But thank you all for coming.
Well,